You know, as I'm going through green lights, especially with your father, what a complex guy, I thought. Because it seems almost like violence in some form was a love language for him. You tell that story of your brother having the rite of passage when your father had taken him to this place and wanted him to steal something, and your brother didn't want to do it, and so your brother and he get into this knockdown, drag out, and the moment your brother hits him with a 2x4 and he's passed out, and your brother's like, oh, Dad, 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 and then when he comes to,
that's my boy. That's my crying, weeping tears going, that's my boy, thank you. And they were best friends from that day on. Best friends. My dad never challenged him morally, philosophically, never talked to him as a younger man, a son, or a subservient ever again in his life.
And the same thing happened to you. Same thing happened to you in a rite of passage where you had stolen a pizza one night. Not stolen the pizza, but you had an incident with a pizza. You said, okay. Yes. You'd had an incident about a pizza, came home, and your father asked you about the pizza. You lied about it, and tell us about that moment.
Well, I tried to, note to children out there when you've done something wrong and you come home and your parents go, so did you pay for that pizza? If you didn't pay for it, it means they know you didn't, okay? So I tried to weasel out of it and go, well, would you do, and this, the more I was groveling, the more I was digging myself a hole, the more my father was getting angry and almost feeling like, what have I done wrong? I'm giving you a chance, son, to tell me you stole it. I think in his mind, he's like, I've stole plenty of pizzas when I was a kid, just tell me. And I didn't have the courage to tell him. And as soon as I said, well, no, I thought, he gave me a backhand, and one that I had earned. And he sat there and he's like, what am I supposed to do, son? What am I supposed to do? Just tell me, be man enough to just tell me. And if I would have told him, hey, Dad, we stole a pizza, Jesus didn't know we'd get caught. He'd have been like, gosh, damn it. Now, son, what I teach you, you shouldn't do that. And then, damn it, if you're gonna do it, get away with it better. But I got my rite of passage later in life with him.
Yes, that night over the bar, punching out a guy in the moment and
who had put his hand on my dad.
Yes. Yeah. And coming out of it, your dad said, that's my boy, in so many words.
He basically pulled me off the guy and said, that's enough, son. That's enough. And then I remember him calling his friends and, saying, hey, the youngest one is what he called me, the youngest one, Matthew, I was the mama's boy. He's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay. He's got a bit of a berserker switch, but he's going to be okay. And that was, for him, it was initiations and rites of passage. And, he grew up a different generation. He was a physical man, as you read in the story in the book. Those hands that could hurt were also those hands that healed, from birds to my mother to his children,
Well, you just mentioned being a mama's boy, a self-proclaimed mama's boy. You write about spending most of your time with your mother growing up because your dad was often on the road. And how do you think that shaped you?
Well, Mom and I were good buddies. She was my kindergarten teacher. She was a 7th grade teacher. She was my substitute teacher along the way. We would ride to school together on a bike, and we'd mimic that Fruit Loop commercial with Toucan Sam. Right behind you, baby. Right behind you, baby. And Dad wasn't gone for long periods of time. He would just be on the road traveling through Texas, peddling pipe, selling pipe, trying to get accounts. He was not my Little League coach or my soccer coach or football coach like he was maybe for my older brothers, but I understood. We had moved there. Longview was a fast-growing place. The oil business was good. He was busy. And so I spent a lot of time with Mom. It wasn't like Dad wasn't in my life. I just didn't have him in my daily life like maybe my big brothers did.